Yeah, so what you've got going on here is basically it's a concrete floor will push some moisture into these perimeter walls, and obviously at this area of a wall, any wall, it's kind of like a cold, dense area of moisture. So you get a bit of a build up, especially it's condensation, but obviously that then penetrates through any sort of like timber and plaster, and then the combination of the floor and the condensation at this point will just build up. It gets to the point where it's literally the gypsum plaster will absorb it, the plastic paints will hide it in. There's a few different variables to what's the cause of it, but in terms of putting it right, you take the skirting boards off, you then create a gap between the wall and the floor, and then in place of the plaster, and obviously the plaster would only be to a certain height, so it only needs to come off lower wall all the way down to the bottom there. And in its place, we can put a drywall or a lime plaster. Probably in this case, I'd go with drywall because you want to get it plastered and painted and on the market very quick. So that's an express system. That works pretty well. Never had any complaints or comebacks or anything. Now, certain areas can't be done. Obviously, that's fixed. Bookcase is fixed to the wall there, so that's staying where that is. But all the rest of the walls in this hallway need to be done. I don't know if it's spread. If I go into this room here, the wall readings aren't too bad at all. So, but it's still going to be the same causes you see throughout the ground floor. Is condensation, a bungalow, notorious for condensation. Concrete floor, notorious for pushing moisture into the walls. So you've got a couple of things going on there. The summer room is the issue here is it's a single skimmed wall, so you're going to get fluctuations of temperature, and this is drywall they've used in here. Can you hear it? And then where you tap, that's the dabs. As soon as you get to a solid dab, that's where you start to get moisture build up, because the adhesive they use is hygroscopic. So salt's hygroscopic. So moisture is drawn to it basically. Moisture will be drawn to the dabs, the moisture will be in the air beneath this wall, because it's only the wall temperature will change. So it will go to fine and dry. Then as it gets certain times of the year, you'll get dew build up behind that, and that will be absorbed by this material I've used to glue the board to the wall. So rectify, you're gonna have to cut that wall back probably about 900mm from the floor. Skirting's got to come off. You cut the wall back. Radiator's got to come off as well. There's a hell of a lot of sockets on this bit. So from this point all the way to that corner, cut the drywall off, replace it with a drywall, but you don't use hygroscopic material to fix it. We use like a PU foam. It's completely non-hygroscopic and it works. But you need a plumber in here, and all. Obviously if you're doing this room as well as a hallway, you're going to need this rad off and the one in the hallway. Now you could leave it as it is, but obviously if you did sell, a surveyor can come round, put his meter on the wall, and he will find the moisture which is hidden in the plaster work there, as well as obviously the one in the hallway. Now what that can happen with that can cause you a few headaches, because you can get certain damp companies in, or say it's rising damp, and it needs chemically injecting, tanking, etc., which will be a huge cost. From really, that's not the case. It doesn't need to have that kind of extensive treatment done to it. Right, that's that.